Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make one of my favorite recipe ever made on YouTube so far. It is my triple chocolate cheesecake. This cheesecake is crazy good. I mean, honestly, there's a dark chocolate layer, a dark chocolate crust as well, a milk chocolate mousse, and a white chocolate mousse. It is amazing, filled with cream cheese, filled with chocolate, everything you need right now. It does require a good amount of time since you need to rest the cheesecake between each take, but believe me, with a bit of patience, you are going to end up with the most impressive and delicious dessert very easily. So let's get right into it with the crust. Alright, so for our crust, we are going to start using some cookie crumbs. I'm using some very basic chocolate cookies, and I'm going to add to that some pure cocoa powder, very important for a bit more flavor. And then we are going to add some melted butter and just mix everything until we have the texture of wet sand. This looks amazing, so we are going to put everything in our prepared baking pan, and I'm just using a basic cake pan that is 20 centimeters in diameter, which is 8 inches. You can definitely use a bigger one if you prefer, but the cheesecake won't be as tall, so I just like a very tall cheesecake, so this is why I did that. And I'm just going to pretty much spread my crumbs and then bake them in my preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 in Fahrenheit for about 10 to 15 minutes, or until it looks a bit more dry and your kitchen smells like chocolate all over it. While our crust is resting at room temperature, it is time to make the first layer, the dark chocolate one, that we are going to bake actually to have that baked cheesecake consistency. We are going to start off making a ganache, so I'm just using some dark chocolate and some cream, and I'm going to melt that in the microwave. You can definitely use a double boiler if you want, but microwave is super easy and works just as well, and then we can take care of the rest of the cheesecake. Perfect. Now we are going to use a lot of cream cheese, of course, to which I'm adding some vanilla extract and some granulated white sugar, and I'm just going to mix that for 30 seconds or until the sugar is well incorporated in the cream cheese, and then we'll work on the eggs. Great, now I'm going to add 1 large egg and then 1 egg yolk, and I'm going to mix between each addition just to make sure that everything is smooth and perfect. Now it is time to add a bit of a thickening agent. I'm going to add some cornstarch that I'm going to mix with some pure cocoa powder just to make sure that we have a perfectly intense chocolate flavor in the end. And I'm going to sift that just to make sure that I don't have any lumps. And finally, we'll be able to add the ganache in the cream cheese filling. Just make sure that your ganache is not too hot, of course, otherwise it will just melt everything. Our chocolate filling is looking amazing and super smooth and dark and perfect. We are going to add it on top of our crust, and we are going to bake everything in a bain-marie, which basically means in a larger baking dish with some boiling water in there. And I'm going to bake it for 15 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, that's 350 in Fahrenheit. And then I'm going to reduce the heat of the oven to 150 degrees Celsius, that's 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake it for about 35 minutes. Once that's done, I'm just going to open the door of the oven using a wooden spoon, for example, and let it rest and cool down completely in the oven. And then I will put it in the fridge for at least 2 or 3 hours just to make sure that our layer is well set, and then we can work on the milk chocolate mousse. Our dark chocolate base is now set and looking amazing and very dark. I just love it. So now we are going to prepare our pan just to make sure that we can lift everything very easily. And I have to do that because I used a regular cake pan. Of course, if you use a springform pan with a removable bottom, you won't have that issue at all. But basically, I'm just going to unmold my cheesecake and then use some plastic tape. And then I'm going to just put a piece of cardboard covered with some plastic wrap at the bottom of my cake pan, just to make sure that we'll be able to lift the cheesecake up once we have added our 2 different layers, and then we can work on the milk chocolate filling. it is time to work on our milk chocolate filling, and I'm basically going to chop some milk chocolate and melt it in the microwave. It will take just a few seconds. And then I'm going to prepare some agar. You can also use gelatin powder, but these are actually made either of fish or pork, so I do not want to use that. I do prefer using agar. And with that, you need to activate it. So I'm just going to put some water in it and then put it in the microwave also to let it boil. And this will activate the agar so that everything sets in the fridge. And then we can work on the rest of the filling. For our milk chocolate mousse, we are going to use some cream cheese, of course, very important. But for a lighter mousse, I'm also going to use some ricotta cheese. And then I'm going to add, of course, some vanilla extract, as well as icing sugar. And I'm going to mix everything with my whisk. Perfect. This is light and moussey. So now we are going to add our melted milk chocolate, and I'm going to mix while I do that, just to make sure that everything is smooth. And finally, we'll be able to add some crème fraîche. You can use some heavy whipping cream or double cream if you are in the UK. And then you are just going to mix everything up, add the agar, and as you can see, it will definitely change the consistency and make everything thicker and perfect to spread on top of the cheesecake. Great, our milk chocolate layer is done, so we are going to put it in the fridge for about 2 hours or until it starts to set. You can definitely put it in the freezer if you are in a hurry, and it will take about 45 minutes or so. And then we are just going to work on the white chocolate filling. It is time to work on the white chocolate filling, and it's going to be exactly the same as the milk chocolate one. I'm just going to use this time some, of course, white chocolate that I've melted very nicely. And of course, I wait for it to come to room temperature before adding it to our cream cheese mixture. But I'm just going to use a bit less sugar, the same amount of vanilla and ricotta and Philadelphia cream cheese as well. And of course, we are going to use the agar to make everything super thick and set once it is in the fridge. And I will do exactly the same. I will spread it on top of my milk chocolate base and put it once again in the fridge. This time, if you can put it overnight, it is best, just to make sure that everything is set and that you can actually cut in the cheesecake. But you can also put it in the freezer, but just make sure that you do not freeze the entire thing. To decorate our cheesecake, I'm just going to use a super fancy marble effect using our 3 different kinds of chocolate. And basically I melted some dark white and milk chocolate, and I just made a marble effect, which is the size of our cheesecake. And then I'm just going to let it set at room temperature before decorating the cheesecake. Once I have molded my cheesecake, as you can see, I'm using a spatula to make everything smoother, especially for the layers with the mousses. So it is pretty much like making the outside of a layer cake. And then we can work on the chocolate marble decoration. And I'm just basically going to cut my decorations to a diameter which is a bit smaller than the one of our cheesecake. And then I will just cut some triangles with a very sharp knife, and make sure to do it very gradually so that you do not break the chocolate. Using a piping bag and a star tip, I'm just going to decorate the top of my cheesecake, and then I'm going to lay on top of it my marbled chocolate, and our cheesecake will be done. And as you can see, once you cut into it, the layers are perfect and smooth, and the consistency is different with each layer. It is absolutely amazing. And there you go, this is my triple chocolate cheesecake. I'm so happy to share this recipe with you today. It really means a lot to me. It did take a lot of time to film, since it does take more time to film than usually when I make desserts on my own. So I really hope that you are going to like this video and that you are going to recreate it, and trust me, this recipe is definitely a showstopper, so you need to try it. You can find the entire list of ingredients in the description box down below. Just write down under this video, as well as my social media, so Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, it really helps me grow on YouTube. Like and comment this video if you want to chat with me, and I'll be very happy to respond. And I will see you very soon for another amazing recipe. Bye!